اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ الحمد للہ الذی جعلنا من المتمسکین بولایت امیر المؤمنین علیہ السلام. We begin with the hamd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us this love of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. We have not done anything in our part, but it is the tawfiq and the sa'adat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are present here. Allahumma al'an awwala zalimin zalama haqqa Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, 28th of Rajab. This is the night, this is the day on which Imam Hussain alayhi salam starts his journey and leaves Madinah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may this month of this season of Ayyam Aza, may Allah make it the last season without the Hujjat of Allah, without Lisarat al-Hussain, without the avenger of the blood of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his family and friends. For the early reappearance of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, please recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammadin wa ajjal farajahum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam in our hearts. We begin with the recitation of Quran, and I request our brother Ahmad Raza for Quran recitation. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر واللیل اذا یسر هل فی ذلک قسم لذی حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد.
Hassan, Jazakallah. Next we will recite Dua Tawassul, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن وأهلك أعداءهم أجمعين. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله يا إمام الرحمة يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وصي الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give shifa to all of the mu'mineen, and may Allah accept these du'as. Especially may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. He is the most deserving of all of our du'as. Ya sadati wa mawali inni tawajjahtu bikum a'immati wa uddati li yawmi faqri wa hajati ila Allah وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين رب العالمين. برادير صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن وأهلك أعداءهم أجمعين. Inshallah, we will continue this majlis with the Marsia, Salam and Marsia. I request our brothers from Nasirani Hussain to please come for. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
واردگان نعرے صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
آج کی تاریخ جو ہے وہ بہت دلسوز تاریخ ہے اہل بیت کے لیے. سب سے پہلے میں امام زمانہ کو پرسہ دیتا ہوں مولا امام حسین کا. تصور کریں، اگر ہم تصور کریں کہ اس وقت مدینہ میں کیا حال ہے، بی بی زہرا کا کیا حال ہے، تو امام حسین کا کیا حال ہے. آج آخری رات ہے مولا امام حسین کی مدینہ میں. میرے نیز کا ایک سلام پیش خدمت. حسین یوں ہوئے اے مجھ رئی وطن سے جدا. حسین یوں ہوئے اے مجھ وطن کہ جیسے بلبل ناشاد ہو چمن سے جدا حسین یوں ہوئے اے مجھے سپاہ شام سے نکلا جو ہر تو بولے ملا سپاہ شام سے نکلا جو ہر تو بولے ملا وہ آفتاب درخشاں ہوا گاہان سے جدا وہ آفتاب درخشاں ہوا گاہان سے جدا ہائے وطن میں پھر کے سفر سے نہ جیتے جی آئے وطن میں پھر کے سفر سے نہ جیتے جی آئے عجب گھڑی تھی کہ اکبر ہوئے بہان سے جدا عجب گھڑی تھی کہ اکبر ہوئے بہان سے جدا نکالا گردن اصغر سے تیر جا شہن نکالا گردن اصغر سے تیر جا شہن گلے سے بہنے لگا خون جدا دہان سے جدا گلے سے بہنے لگا خون جدا دہان سے جدا ہائے سکینہ مر گئی قید ستم میں گھٹ گھٹ کر سکینہ مر گئے قید ستم میں گھٹ گھٹ مگر نہ چاند سی گردان ہوئی رسن سے جدا مگر نہ چاند سی گردان ہوئی رسن فاتحہ. گھر سے جب بہرے سفر سید عالم نکلے، گھر سے جب بہرے سفر سید عالم نکلے، سر جھکائے ہوئے بادیدائے پرنم نکلے، خوش و فرزند پرے باندھ کے باہم نکلے، رو کے فرمایا کہ اس شہر سے اب ہم نکلے، رو کے فرمایا کہ اس شہر سے اب ہم نکلے، رات سے گریائے زہرا کی صدا آتی ہے، دیکھے قسمت ہمیں کس دشت میں لے جاتی ہے، رخ کیا شہ نے سوئے قبر شہنشاہ انام، بہر تسلیم جھکے متصل باب سلام، اذن پا کر جو گئے قبر کے نزدیک امام، عرض کی آیا ہے آج آخری رخصت کو غلام، عرض کی آیا ہے آج آخری رخصت کو غلام، یہ مکان ہم سے اب اے شاہ زمن چھوٹتا ہے، آج حضرت کے نواسے سے وطن چھٹتا ہے، چین سے سب ہیں گھروں میں مجھے ملتا نہیں چین، سخت آفت میں ہے اب آپ کا یہ نور العین، ٹکڑے دل ہوتا ہے جب رو کے کرم کرتے ہیں بین، ننھے بچوں کو بھلا لے کے کدھر جائے حسین، ننھے بچوں کو بھلا لے کے کدھر جائے حسین، شہر میں چین نہ جنگل میں امان ملتی ہے، دیکھیے قبر مسافر کو کہاں ملتی ہے، یہ وہ دن ہیں کہ پرندے بھی نہیں چھوڑتے گھر، مجھ کو درپیش ہے ان روزوں میں آفت کا سفر، ساتھ بچوں کا ہے اے بادشاہ جن و بشر، ہے کہیں قتل کا ساما کہیں لٹ جانے کا ڈر، ہے کہیں قتل کا ساما کہیں لٹ جانے کا ڈر، تنگ جینے سے ہوں پاس اپنے بلا لو نانا، اپنی تربت میں نواسے کو چھپا لو نانا، یہ بیاں کر کے جو تعویذ سے لپٹے سرور، یوں قبر کے تھرائی ذریعے انور آئی تربت سے یہ آواز حبیب داور تیری غربت کے میں صدقے میرے مظلوم پہ سر تیری غربت کے میں صدقے میرے مظلوم پہ سر کوئی سمجھانا میری گود کا پالا تجھ کو ہائے آدان مدینے سے نکالا تجھ کو گھر سے جب بحر سفر سید عالم نکلے
احسن جزاک اللہ برائے صحت و سلامتی امام زمان علیہ السلام صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجہم والعن وأهلك أعداءهم أجمعين. Brothers and sisters, before we move on to the Majlis speech, I request everyone to recite a Surah Al-Fatiha for all the marhumeen, especially the marhumeen of people who are present here, who are contributors here of this community, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. I'm thankful to our respected scholar Moulana Syed Hassan Mujtaba Rizvi who is present here among us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase his tawfiqat and increase his darajat. I request him to please come on the minbar and address the majlis. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of everything. the one who has given an opportunity to his creation to be able to choose a path. And this path that the creation chooses is for their own benefit or loss. It has nothing to do with that choice that affects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of us have a choice to choose a path. And there are only two paths, one that takes you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and one that takes you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The path that Imam Hussain chose coming out of Medina was a path that took him to the highest level of love that a creation can feel in their hearts by giving everything that a being that is in love with the beloved can achieve. And for me and you, we all have that choice to make every single moment of our lives, that whether you're going to choose the path towards the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or you're going to choose the path towards going away from the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has only given you one heart, right? There's no two hearts that you have. You only have one heart. And this heart, you cannot divide it into two. You can't say, okay, I'll divide this heart. Give one to you, give one to you. Actually, if you start dividing, you probably won't have anything left. Right? So, this is just to get the idea that you only have one heart and you only have one choice to give it to one. You only have the choice between two paths, not three. Okay, this is just to explain. So let's say you're a son, you're a brother, you're a husband, right? You're a community member, you're a worker. You go to your wife and say, okay, I give you half of my heart. She's going to ask you the question like, okay, who's the other heart belongs to? You say to your son or to your daughter, okay, I give you half of my heart to you and I give half of my heart to. They're not going to accept that either. Wherever there is this word of love, that heart has to be given in its entirety to the one that is your beloved. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Let's say if I say to my daughter, I say, okay, I love you 99.9%. It's a big number, right? She should be happy. But the first reaction or first thought that she's going to get in her mind, why does he not love me 100%? Right? So this heart that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, you can only give it to one. You cannot divide it. If you divide it, it doesn't work out. The system doesn't work out. Let's see who you have given this heart to right now. You think about it. I'm not sure what you have, but majority of the human beings, they've given this heart to themselves. Who do they love the most? Themselves. When you love the most of your own self, that's it. You don't have any other heart to give. You don't have anyone else to give. That's it. Done. Then everything else that is associated to that person, automatically they start loving that thing. My daughter, my son, my work, my money, my house, my car, my Bugatti. It's because everything that is out there that they are expressing their love to, it's not really that they love that thing. The only thing that they love is themselves. Even when a person, say, if you say to them, okay, why did you come here? Hey, why did you come here? If they say, I came here for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or I came here for Imam Hussain, they came here for themselves. Because they want that reward which is going to be given to us when we participate. They're here so that they can ask for their sins forgiveness, so that they can avoid hellfire. They're here so that they can gain that status in heaven for themselves. So even when a person is, saying that they love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, qurbatan ilallah, really what they're doing is basically qurbatan ila nafs. They're only getting closer and closer to their own. Yes, of course, when someone is wanting heaven and avoiding hell, it's probably the most best sort of motivation that a person can have to perform an action. But it's still not Allah. Right? Imam Hussain, salam, the reason why a lot of people could not understand why he left from Medina, right, or the event of Karbala, or taking his family members, they couldn't understand it. Till today, they don't understand it. Till today, people don't understand it. It boggles the rational mind. Here you are, you've been sort of like, an order of an empire has been given against you. Like the government at that time was not a small government, it was an empire. That the empire wants you dead. There is no place where you can go where you're going to be safe. And here you are taking your little children, going towards a place where you've been told since you were born that that is the place where you're going to have to give that ultimate sacrifice. There's one, because, we have these sort of, we have different, speakers and Moulanas and so forth. This one person came on TV and ended up justifying, Mazallah, I'm just narrating it for you because just to make the point that we still, our rational mind does not understand. And a lot of the times the justifications we end up giving are so horrible. They're actually as an insult to Imam Hussain. It's in English, or if you want to know the name, I can give it to you afterwards. He came on TV and said that Imam Hussain went from Medina and went towards Karbala, and all of what he did was a noble, maazallah, suicide. And when he said that on TV, there were people like, what are you? So he was called back again. Justify, explain, apologize. For 13 minutes, he repeated the same thing. Why is it that your rational mind or my rational mind, or why maybe there might be some questions in your mind, but that person using that terminology, can you have a noble sin? And on top the sin, there is the greatest of sins. A sin which is other sins can be forgiven. This cannot, because you are you're doing something that everything else stems from. That is the existence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you and I. Right? The only way you can get to, why Imam Hussain left and went through all of these difficulties is because he loved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in order to show his love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he needed to make those sacrifices that are necessary. It's not mustahab, it's necessary. It's an obligation of that love. That everything that I own is yours. And everything that I own that is yours, I'm going to spend it in your way. And when I spend it in your way, it is my love. Why did Hazrat Ibrahim ﷺ was willing to put a knife on the neck of his son? Because his son. He loves him. There was no better son than that son. It's yours. See, you have to be in love with someone to understand this. Where your own being does not exist, that it is only the being of your beloved that exists. When we commemorate events, okay, so the points that I've made, just keep them in your mind as preliminaries. When we commemorate an event, it's an historical event. But history or events in history, the purpose is not to narrate them. Yes, maybe one benefit you can get is that if you were to narrate history, it will be saved or it will be stored. We have the events of history stored in books. Now they are even digital. They're not going anywhere. Before, people had to narrate things that happened in the past because everything was in their memory. Very few people had it written. So it was from one event was narrated, then the person will memorize it, will narrate it to someone else, and so forth. So if you think that is one of the benefits to narrate or to commemorate this day, when you commemorate or when you remember or when you narrate history, the benefit is ibrat. Now the word ibrat in English, I have a hard time. I don't know if you know some word that will be equal to ibrat. Ibrat in Arabic basically means from when you cross over from one side to the other side, abur. You go from one side to the other side. When you cross. Okay. To give you an example, let's say you're on the highway, you see a policeman stopped a person. You see those lights, and they stopped them. You don't know why they've stopped them. It could be the seatbelt, it could be they were on the cell phone, it could be that they were speeding. But as soon as you see that, you cross. Right? You go from your own self, thinking whatever you were thinking, to that person. You put yourself in that person's shoes. And you come back. And when you come back, again you're crossing. When you come back, you look at your own self. Am I wearing a seatbelt? Am I on the phone? Am I speeding? You slow down. That's ibrat. Now what I just described, you tell me an English word, then we can maybe translate it. If you say lesson, it's not lesson. It's actually movement of your awareness where you, whatever that you have looked at, you put yourself in that situation and you check yourself. Right? Do you see the difference? If for example, you see someone's child has gone astray. If the parents find out that someone's child has gone astray, then these parents, when they find that news, they look at themselves. They say, okay, have we done enough? What if our child goes astray? Let's try not to do the same mistakes as those parents did or that child did. Right? What do? Instead of doing that, right? Instead of putting ourselves in that person's shoes and looking at, making that sort of shift of focus and attention and awareness, we start backbiting them. हाँ, उनके साथ तो ऐसे ही होना चाहिए था, वो तो है ही ऐसे, तो मुझे शुरू से पता था. देखा वो क्या उस वक्त आया था, उसने मुझे सलाम नहीं किया था, उसने ऐसा किया कि उसने कम्युनिटी, अब अल्लाह में इसको अजाब दे रहा है. When we look at Imam Hussain leaving from Medina and going to Makkah and the whole journey and getting to Karbala, and then the people of Medina and the people of Makkah and the people in Kufa, we don't take ibrat from them. We just say Kufa people are like this. Medina के लोग तो ऐसे ही थे. मक्का में लोगों ने, we are looking at history, we're not taking ibrat. We're narrating it, but we're not taking ibrat. If you look at this event and you want to have ibrat, then look at within yourself. By looking at this event, go abur, yani come from that event to your own self. See yourself. Are you the person who were the people in Medina? Are you the person of the people who were in Makkah? Are you a person of the people that were in Kufa? Or are you the person who are at least thinking or looking at the world like the companions of Imam Hussain? This event should make you shift your awareness, shift your consciousness, take ibrat from it. It's very easy to say, no, I'm like the ones that were with Imam Hussain. How many people when you meet, I'm a Kufi, how are you? Assalamu alaikum. Well, nobody says that. Like, I'm a mu'min, I'm Shia, I'm a good person. Among our own community right now, there are people with the same view of themselves, of the world, of religion, that the people in Medina did. We have people that the same worldview or same view of themselves, or religion, or even Imam Hussain as the people who were in Makkah. Imam Hussain is giving you the measuring scale to measure yourself. Imam Hussain says that if there is a tyrant that has taken leadership of Islam, then say Khudafiz to Islam. Why? Islam is not going to be able to be alive in the hearts and the society of people. It's going to go Khudafiz. How many Muslim countries we have that are the people who are taking the leadership of that Muslim country are tyrants. And he says a person like me cannot pay allegiance to a person like Yazid. How many of us have actually given our allegiance to the person exactly, or even, there can't be anything worse, but exactly the same. We've given our allegiance to them. And we don't want to break it. When it comes to sacrifice or ithar, we think a million times before doing it. Forget about Isar. Isar is very far from even giving a little bit change from your pocket. Giving a bit of time. If today you had invited someone who has a big name, someone who's famous, good orator, English speaker, and you could afford that person, which I don't know, maybe you could, I don't think you can, but let's say you could afford that person, the person was to come here, there won't be a space empty. Forget about social distancing. It'd be like till outside. So those people who in your own city will show up because of that name, are they showing up because they are commemorating the... They're not. They will come, they will shed tears. They will actually do that. You'll see tears from their eyes. But did they come here to commemorate that? No. You go on social media, you go on YouTube, you look at those people who are, big names, or people are looking at their, they have fans. In the concept of Imam Hussain, there are no fans. They're followers. And not followers of Instagram and Twitter. We might be followers of Imam Hussain like Instagram and Twitters. Yes, oh, very good, Wawa, okay, 2 tears, that's it. Followers. When Imam Hussain from Makkah, right, he's saying, is there someone who's willing to shed blood from their forehead? Come with me. If I was to come stand here and say, okay, I'm going to go let's go to Toronto. Come with me, whoever is willing to shed blood from their forehead. For the Imam, when you touch your forehead, remember this is not out of respect. Remember that. I've mentioned this to you before, because a lot of things I say, it's good to repeat. Maybe that eventually they will register. This is our cultural way of showing respect. When we go like this, adab. This is saying to the Imam, when you touch your forehead, that I am willing to shed blood from my forehead for you. Every time you touch, you need to remember that. If you're not willing, and you're just touching it, those people who invited Imam Hussain, some over thousands of letters, 18,000. They cried, they said, we are our Imam, we need you. They wanted not to shed their own blood. They wanted Imam Hussain to fix everything. Like we are expecting Imam Zaman to fix everything and not willing to do anything for it. We're supposed to be soldiers of the Imam. We know that eventually there's going to come a time where there's going to be that war which is going to be projected as a war physically between right and wrong. That's the eventuality of it. That's our ideology. That is our belief. How many of us know self-defense? If someone gives you a sword in your hand, what can you do with it? A bow and arrow? What can you do with it? What's going to happen when we have traditions where the soldiers of the Imam, it's going to be that difficult that they're going to be sleeping on the savari or the horses. They won't have time to get off that vehicle, whether it's a horse or a vehicle, to sleep. They will be sleeping on that while they're drenched in blood and sweat. मेरी तो अगर 8 घंटे की नींद ना होना तो मुझसे तो कुछ होता ही नहीं. Moulana, if I don't sleep 8 hours, I can't function during the day. Achha. If this is your habit, if this is what your physical programming is, what are you going to do when Imam comes when you don't even have time to lie down? You're going to be in motion. The outside weather, the elements, survival, all of this. Can we? I'm elongating this point just for our minds to start working. Wake up. Can we stay outside without a jacket? Imam, wait, let me get a Pajar jacket or a Canadian Goose so that then I'll be fine. We think that environment is going to be very convenient, very comfortable. Everything's going to be really, really good. We're just going to be sitting in our comfortable homes, watch on CNN. Imam has done, the government is established. We can we're good now. Yeah, of course, if there is social media still there or news, of course that event is going to be telecasted. So you can just sit at home and watch. Where is the ibrat out of that? Imam Zaman is going to come out of Medina the same way as Imam Hussain came out of Medina. When, within the 313 of the close followers and friends of Imam, when they are gathered, and the threat is there that the army is coming, he's going to come out of Medina in the same sort of emotional circumstances as Imam Hussain going towards Makkah. We're waiting for the exact same historical event to be duplicated by the Imam of the time with his close followers. So my brothers and sisters, if you and I, there is no way you can survive as being just a small-time mu'min. Small-time mu'min who does all the shirk in the world and still is a mu'min. And there's a verse in the Holy Quran that says that most of the mu'mins are mushriks. आप हैं और आपके बाद बस खुदा, यानी खुदा है और बस उसके बाद आप हैं. आपका सहार, खुदा के बाद जो मेरा सहारा है वो आप. इमाम ज़मान के बाद जो मेरा सहारा है वो आप. This is shirk. There is no other support than the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no other support than the support of Imam Rizvi. There is nothing else afterwards. आप ना होते तो पता नहीं मेरा क्या होता. It's a mu'min doing shirk. If I lose this job, I don't know what's going to happen to me. It's a mu'min doing shirk. It's a mu'min of anguti, you know. No, I'm not, if I take all of them, I'm not a mu'min anymore. Yeah, I'm not a mu'min anymore. This mu'min is not going to be able to survive. Oh, I'm a mu'min now. बहुत बड़ा मोमिन है, क्यों? ज़ियारतों पे गया हुआ है, उधर 5 स्टार होटल में रुक के इराकी खाने अच्छे अच्छे खा के साथ में 2 आंसू बहा के वापस आ गया ज़ियारत से, बहुत बड़ा मोमिन है. This is not going to cut it. Why? Because they were these small time mu'mins in Madinah at that time. They were very happy with their du'as. They were very happy with their salah. They were very happy to be in that city of the Holy Prophet and not shake the boat. Not to say anything to the status quo. Not to put any voice. Yes, it's the empire. The person is the leader. He's sitting on this end. Yes, he commits all of the, gunah kabira, the greater sins. He is totally 180 from Islam. He is, najis is all of that. But what can we do? We're going to do our religion so that our lives are saved. The people that Imam Hussain, when he started from Makkah and he went all the way towards Karbala, they were in some places 1,000 people. 1,000 people started and slowly going away. In the end, they were just those. They started walking with him, but when they started finding out that basically Imam is going towards a place and the way he is letting us know about that place, we're not going to be able to come back. They left him. And what happened to the people in Kufa? Today, if we don't have the comfort and convenience, how easy is it, for us to just let go of our iman? You have to become extraordinary. You cannot be small-time moments. You cannot do shirk-e khafi. You're going to need to become a muwahhid, where your only strength is Allah. Your only power is Allah. Your only love is Allah. In every action is only Allah. The reason for you to live and to die is only Allah. Nothing else. You have to become free men and women. That's the only way you're going to survive. We went through this pandemic, we're still going through it. And that fear mongering and that fear state inside of our hearts. Sanitizer is going to save me. People like sanitizing their coffee mugs. It's going to save me. In the name of? What was the name? Say it, so I can drink water. What was it in the name of? Say it. What you guys have been doing for 3 years? Sanitizer, mask, all this stuff. What was it in the name of? It wasn't what was it? Precaution. A very beautiful name, very beautiful word. Precaution is supposed to be really good. The people who did not go with Imam Hussain Salam from Medina where he was going, were they not cautious? Yes or no? The people who stayed in Makkah, were they not cautious? The people who stayed in Kufa, were they not cautious? Mashallah, our understanding of precaution, we are getting it from the people of Medina, Kufa and Makkah. Was Imam Hussain not precautious? He was the only being that was precautious. Precaution. Before the event, before awareness, before something comes, you become aware. Before the day comes where you have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are going to be decided whether you were people with Imam Hussain or you were the people in Medina or Makkah or Kufa. Precaution is to decide now. To become aware now. Then it will be too late. That's precaution. They were the people in Medina who stayed there. Did they not lose? They lost. Did they die? They died. Are they not going to be liable on the day of judgment that you left the Imam of the time? The one who kept on carrying on with their Hajj. Are they not going to be liable? The one who broke the allegiance with Imam Hussain, are they not going to be liable? Did they not die? Those mothers who kept their sons, the sisters that kept their brothers, the wives that kept their husbands, did they not all die? Precaution is to follow the path of the Imam of the time. Otherwise, everything else is not precaution, it's loss. Today, in the name of precaution, we commit all of the audacity, all of the wrongdoings in the name of precaution. Because it's a good word. You want to save your life, but for who? You want to wear that mask to save your life. You want to sanitize your hand. You want to do all of those things for whom? If it is for yourself, the one that you love, or is it for Allah? If it is for Allah, all of this is fine. If it's for yourself, what's the difference between you and Parvinder or Sakwinder? If you're also going to be accepting the status quo today, when you take something within your body, right? When you take something in your body, the person comes along and tells you that whatever you are taking, you're taking it on your own risk. Nothing is going to, whatever you do, whatever you put in, it's not going to help you with anything, right? The premier of whatever, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, he comes out and he goes, it doesn't matter whether you get 100 shots or you get 3 shots, you're going to get it. And he was giving the example of the prime minister that he got 3 and he still got it. 180, like. When someone comes along and tells you you're still going to get it, you cannot get it out of your body. You have to get it because you can't travel, you can't do that. And you have to take it on your own risk. Right? Versus the other possibility. What would be the precaution? To get it or not to get it? The people who stayed in Medina, what were their thoughts? Our jobs will be saved, our houses will be saved, we don't have to, you know. But yes, all of this is going to be saved, but the Imam-e-Zaman is going to be alone. What is the precaution? Our minds are being programmed for us to become beings that are subservient, compliant, and even the most unreliable, unauthenticated, non-knowledge, science-based things can be projected into the community and they will accept it. Today, shirk is sold from the members, people are buying it. From the mankabat and qasidas, shirk is sold, people are buying it. And they're buying it for thousands of dollars. Literally for thousands of dollars. They're buying shirk, they're buying ghulu. You come along and tell them this is shirk, this is ghulu. In the name of Imam Hussain, you are cutting the roots of Tawheed. They'll be like, no. What is our mentality today? Come to your conclusions. Do your own research. Find out. Read between the lines. Have the conviction that is now going to shake you, no matter what the status quo is. Stop labeling people. Labeling people, Masan. If somebody comes along, look at what they're saying, then check what was the thought process or the worldview of Imam Hussain. If it fits in, fits in. If it doesn't fit in. But have that mizan. Okay? So for this event, it is something for you to not just commemorate and come over, get your sawab, which you're going to get. Okay? But here is an opportunity for you to see. Take ibrat. Judge yourself. Yeah, after the scene is over, I'm going to go home, you're going to go to your house. When the Imam of the time calls, will you be able to say yes? Or would we be like the people in Madinah, Makkah and Kufa? Okay? Become extraordinary. Nothing is normal. These are the last words. I know Moulana always say that. There never is. Nothing is normal. It's only our need to be normal. In reality, nothing is normal. You know, you're on a ball of fire. Right? This earth, the core is magma. It's a fire. It's a ball of fire. It's going around in space without a track around a ball of fire. And this ball of fire is also rotating around its own axle. And this ball of fire is bombarded by the balls of fire that are constantly hitting the atmosphere. Is this normal? In our houses, everything's okay. In your own bodies, every second there's 100,000 chemical reactions that are happening in one cell. And there are 100 trillion unicell organisms inside of your body. Multiply 100 trillion by 100,000 per second, the reactions that are happening. Is this normal? Nothing is normal. We've been given this sense of normality because it is our need to hang on to. And when that does not fit the box, we call it abnormal. The movement of Imam Hussain does not fit that box that's been given to us. And we're afraid that if we build that worldview, if we become that, if we see the world through that, we're going to be persecuted. You will. You will. There's no other. Imam Ali says, if you're going to be friends with me, be ready for so many difficulties to come your way that if it comes on a mountain, it's crushed. If you want to make that choice between the two paths, one that leads you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and one that leads you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to have to become extraordinary, have the ibrat from history, look at every status quo with an analytical, right? And you cannot give the benefit of the doubt to the status quo. You cannot. You have to make your own conclusions. You have to become extraordinary. You have to get out of this box of comfort and convenience. And when you find the truth, hold on to it. And no matter what happens, don't let it go. It was not easy for Imam Hussain to leave. The brothers, they read, they narrated that. It was not easy for Imam Hussain to leave the city of his grandfather. It was not easy for him to leave his family behind. There's nothing I can tell you that you can compare. If you've ever been for Ziyarat, okay, and you know those moments that you're holding on to the zari, and you know that this is you're going to have to go the next day. And whatever that you haven't said to Imam Hussain or to Imam Raza, you need to say it. Right? Now imagine the same, but knowing that you will not come back to this again. आप ज़ियारत पे गए हो, इमाम रज़ा अलैहिस्सलाम की ज़री को पकड़ा हुआ है और आपको पता है कि मैं वापस नहीं आऊंगा, क्योंकि जब भी हम ज़ियारत पे गए हैं, ठीक है ज़री को पकड़ा है, रोए है, लेकिन दिल में पता है, चाहत है, ख्वाहिश है, हम वापस आएंगे, वापस आएंगे, अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला में वापस लेकर आएगा, हमारे वसाइल दोबारा इकट्ठे होंगे। हम ये नहीं सोच रहे होते कि भाई ये आखिरी नहीं, हम आएंगे, बार बार आएंगे। अगर हम लोग अपने तसव्वुर में नहीं ला सकते कि इमाम हुसैन ने किस तरह से खुदाफिज किया, कि रसूल की कब्र से कैसे खुदाफिज किया होगा, क्योंकि इमाम हुसैन को पता है ये अभी जो मैं ज़ियारत कर रहा हूँ रसूल की कब्र की, ये आखिरी है, वापस नहीं आना इधर। कितनी बातें थी जो करनी थी। जब इमाम हसन अलैहिस्सलाम की कब्र पे बैठोगे, कितनी बातें करनी थी, किस तरह से अलविदा कहा। क्या इमाम हुसैन के ज़हन के अंदर आता होता, پتہ ہے جس جگہ پہ جا رہے ہیں وہ شہادت گاہ ہے. کس طرح سے اپنی ماں کی قبر سے خدا کیا کچھ کہا ہوگا, پتہ ہے واپس نہیں آتا. آسان نہیں ہے. اپنی بیٹی کو کس طرح سے چھوڑو, یہ جانتے ہوئے کہ ہاں یہ ابھی ادھر ہے, واپس جتنا دیکھ سکتے ہو دیکھو, واپس نہیں آ رہا. اور یہ جو ساتھ لے کے جا رہے ہیں, بی بی زینب نے کس طرح سے چھوڑو. بی بی کے پاس حضرت عباس بھی ہیں, امام حسین بھی ہیں, حضرت علی اکبر ہیں. یہ وہی سیدہ ہے کہ جس کو شام اور کوفہ کے بازاروں میں بغیر چادر کے چلنا ہوگا. قربانی دینی پڑتی ہے, اثار کرنا پڑتا ہے. یہ عشق کی واجبات ہے, جس سے محبت, اس کے لیے سب کچھ قربان کرنا. اگر میری اور آپ کا کی محبت ہے عشق امام زمان علیہ السلام کے ساتھ, تو کیا ہم قربان کر سکتے ہیں؟ کیا ہم چاہتے ہیں کہ قربان کرے؟ خدایا مجھے نہیں پتا کہ ہمارے امام کہاں پہ, لیکن ہم نے ان کے ہاتھ باندھے ہوئے, ہماری وجہ سے ان کے ہاتھ بندھے ہوئے. وہ ہمارا انتظار کر رہے ہیں, ہم ان کا انتظار نہیں کر رہے. وہ ہمارا انتظار کر رہے کہ کب ان میں سے کچھ لوگ اس رستے کو انتخاب کرے جو میرے جد نے کیا تھا. اسیرو بے سیرت جدی, میں اپنی جد کی سیرت پہ چلنا چاہتا ہوں. میں امر بالمعروف و نہی منکر کرنا چاہتا ہوں. میں اصلاح کرنا چاہتا ہوں امت کی, کہ جو اپنے علی اصغر کو قربان کرنے کے لیے تیار ہو, اپنی سکینہ کے چہرے پہ تماچے لگنے کے لیے تیار ہو, جو اپنے گھر بار کو چھوڑنے کے لیے تیار ہو. میرے مولا ہماری مدد کر دے, ہمیں معاف کر دے. امام کے ظہور تاجیل کر دے.
چلا میں وعدہ نبھانے, چلا میں وعدہ نبھانے, سلام مائی کے مزار, سلام نانا کے روزے, سلام ماں کے مزار, سلام نانا کے روزے, سلام ماں کے مزار سلام
مولانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
سلام نانا کے روزے
سلام ماں کے مزار
میں تیرا دین بچاؤں گا اے میرے نانا میں اپنا خون بہاؤں گا اے میرے نانا حسین جاتا ہے مرنے حسین جاتا ہے مرنے سلام ماں کے مزار سلام نانا کے
روزے سلام ماں کے مزار سلام نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
دعا کرو کوئی سر بے ردا نہ ہو اماں نماز شوق شہادت قضا نہ ہو اماں نہ آئے میرے چمن پہ نہ آئے میرے
چمن پہ
ستم کی گرد و غبار سلام
نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
سلام
نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
دیے جلانے کو نانا تمہارے روزے پر ضرور آئے گی صغرا ہر ایک شام و سحر خدا کرے رہ روشن خدا کرے رہ روشن صدا تمہارا مزار سلام
نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
سلام
نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
تمہارے جیسا ہے نانا یہ میرا لال اکبر دعا کرو نہ لگے اس کو آسماں کی نظر دیے نہ دور وطن سے لوٹے نہ دور وطن سے ہمارے دل کا قرار سلام نانا
کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
سلام
نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
تمام پھول سے بچے ہیں اور گرم ہوا ہمارے خون کی پیاسی ہے فوج ظلم و جفا سفر میں کوئی شجر بھی سفر میں
کوئی شجر بھی
نہیں ہے سایہ دار سلام نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
سلام نانا کے روزے سلام ماں کے مزار
یہی ہے سرور و ریحان زندگی کا شرف کبھی زیارت کربو بلا کبھی ہے نجف انہی فضاؤں میں آتی ہے انہی فضاؤں
میں آتی ہے
शाहिदी की पुकार सलाम ना के रोज़े सलाम माँ के मज़ार सलाम ना के रोज़े सलाम माँ के चला मैं वादा निभाने चला मैं वादा निभाने सलाम माँ के मज़ार सलाम ना के रोज़े सलाम माँ के मज़ार।
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين، السلام عليكم يا أمة الهدى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن خليفة الرحمن كأمة الإيمان إمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاعدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا